Hi Gemini, I hope you guys are doing great today. Welcome to your journal messages for May 8th to the 14th, and we're going to be talking about 4 transits that are going on. I'm going to work them sort of into the reading. I'm going to start with a general reading. So the general could have to do with work, relationship, whatever, and then I'm going to do a separate love read after that. That's just the way I'm doing it this week. I like to switch it up a little bit, but let's get right into things. Gem, honestly, I feel like something really awesome is afoot for you right now. I'm looking at these energies and I'm like, yeah, I mean, Venus entering you, right, in Gemini on the 8th. And this is going to be, obviously, it's going to be happening in your first house. So, I mean, okay, awesome, right? You're going to want to have your finger on every pie. You're going to be really communicative. You're going to be really even a little flirty. You're going to be popping with, like, the mental faculties are just going to be on fire, right? Very, very communicative energy. When Venus is in Gemini in your first house, oh my gosh, right? Now that's going to be from May 8th until June 2nd. So really good. Now I just want to mention the shadow side of Gemini can be fickleness, and it's less like a splitting kind of thing and more like, wow, there's so much to look at. There are so many people to talk to. There are so many things to think about. It's going to be a lot for you, right? Because we also have the new moon is going to be happening in Taurus in your 12th house. So many things to think about, so many things to dream about. This is going to be a very, very busy time for you, very busy time. So as you are getting ready to go into your solar season. So we have the new moon on May 8th, May 8th, listen to me, May 11th. In Taurus, and again, that's going to be happening in the house of the hidden, in the house of the subconscious. It's also the loyal heart. It's also the house of self-undoing, right, where we could kind of get in our own way. We're going to be needing to be very careful about that, but we'll sort of talk about that more as we go along. But what does it mean to have this energy in your 12th house? Well, first of all, let's talk about what this even means. So really good energy to commit to personal goals and express that Taurian energy, right? And what is Taurus? Taurus is ruled by Venus. It's the landlord of the second house of money, of things we value, the roof over your head, the clothes on your back, your self-esteem, how you feel about yourself and how you feel about things, right? And it's ruled by Venus. So there's a lot of Venusian energy in there as well. So it's time to just really enjoy the simple things, keep it simple. Good food, good drink, whatever you're into. Remember, Taurus rules the body. Really nice. All of that's great because we should all be concentrated on increasing our feelings of self-worth when we have the new moon in Taurus and simplifying our lives in key ways and connecting with our bodies, our minds, with nature, all of that. Kind of getting grounded, you know? Now, I want to mention, though, that this new moon harmonizes with Neptune and Pluto, suggesting that our inspiration and our determination support our efforts to begin something new. So we all feel this new cycle coming. And while the squares to Saturn and Jupiter are wide, they're relevant because the new moon is closely square the Jupiter-Saturn midpoint. So we can be dealing with the desire to grow and expand, but we're needing to, like, hear no, not yet, or deal with limitations and rules, something like that. And that dichotomy can end up being really exhausting, can take up a lot of energy, right? So being really, kind of energetically exhausted while being busy, that could sort of put us into a shutdown mode where we're a little lackadaisical or maybe trying to over control a situation. So you just want to be careful there. But let's focus on the good, as this is a very potent energy and we have the chance to make important changes in our lives, solid and realistic. Don't worry about making big sweeping changes right now. They could, no matter how little or big, it doesn't matter. And approximately 2 weeks after the full moon happens, so towards the end of May, which is exactly what I've been saying, right, in the readings. I feel things happening. I'm looking at the astrology and I'm like, I don't even think we realize that this is coming, because also while this is happening in your 12th house, that's where the sun is. That's also where Uranus is, which is all about surprises and change. So don't be surprised if you're seeing things in a very different way regarding any aspect of your life, because it's the 12th house. That could have to do with relationship. That could have to do with, it works opposite the 6th house. So that has to do with work, your day-to-day experience, your mental, physical, and emotional health, just how you're feeling about things. Okay. You also might be a little concerned about your pets right now, or a pet that matters to you. Okay, so let's get into this, and then we'll deal with looking at the other transits. So we have the Lover's energy coming into this, and let's pull this up. We also have loyal heart, blessed, and serendipity. So Lady Luck is definitely at play here. Whenever we get the blessed card, I always feel like that is somebody who's got your back on the other side, Gem. Somebody has your back on the other side. Serendipity. Things are just going to be happening to you, and you're just going to be like, wow, all right, finally. Or wow, that's amazing that is happening. You're going to be realizing a lot of things, right? Especially because that Uranus is in your 12th. But this is you, the Lover's energy. And the Lover's energy is always indicative of a choice. So there needs to be a choice made. Are we going to do this? Or are we going to do that? Are we in this together or not? It really has to be that kind of energy. And if you're in it together where you're recognizing something's not perfect, but you guys want to work at it the best that you can to make it whatever perfect means for you. Archangel Raphael blesses it, the luminary, the sun blesses it, and it's great. It's a great energy in that way. Some of you may also be in this space where if you're single, this is a really, really good time to work on releasing any blocks that you might be experiencing so that you can manifest the right relationship when it's time. And in the same way, if this has to do with a career or money, there's some sort of choices going on. So that one option might seem easier, but you want to look closer to make sure that it's the best thing in the long run. You don't want to make anything all about money, right? Having to do with that job, that investment, that relationship, that family situation. So in the space of choices, trying to figure out what the right thing is coming into this energy. So we have the Ten of Cups, and it's being crossed by the Six of Swords. So the Ten of Cups is happiness. I mean, yeah, it's family contentment, it's benefits of security, great energy for family, partnerships, intimate, and business. The idea of whatever you've been working on, really hard, will finally come together in all areas: communication, romance, business, family, whatever. So it's the situation right now is that you're starting to feel the tide turning of things starting to sort of slowly come together. But it's being crossed by the Six of Swords, and this is the need to move on from something, right? Detaching, taking a break from something, that relationship, stepping away from that job. Something needs space for it to be worked on. You need to do some internal work here. So something needs to be stepped away from. So you might have to step away from an idea of something that's going on. You might have to step away from a relationship, something like that. Stepping away. Like, okay, you know what? I need a different perspective, right? Sometimes, because it's a minor arcana, it's not major. So it doesn't have to be like, oh, so dramatic. It just be like, you know what? I need to just like remove myself from this stuff right now, right? Whatever it is. That toxic situation with the family, that toxic situation within relationship. We have the crowning energy, and the best to be achieved is temperance. Good. I like this. This is a good energy. In numerology, this is the Hierophant, so this is about convention and expectation. In astrology, this is Sagittarius, which is ruled by Jupiter. It's about luck, expansion, and good fortune, right? How is all of that happening? Through cooperation, moderation. Some of you reconciling something. So reconciliation could be in a relationship, a friendship, some sort of family situation, something like that, where there's healing though on the other side of it. So if this has to do with relationship, there could be a new level of trust and patient cooperation had if things have been challenging in that intimate relationship, in that friendship, that family situation. And just as an aside, if you're single and you're resonating with this as so far as it being a relationship read, you may find yourself very, very energetically or spiritually pulled towards somebody. Very emotionally intense time. You might also be dealing, if this has to do with work or money, you might be dealing with a very challenging personality, somebody who's either too aggressive, too sensitive, or maybe a little bit of both, right? Patience and cooperation is the answer to this. Pay attention to your incoming and outgoing finances right now, though. You just want to be careful here. So there's got to be this balance here. Beautiful. We have the World. Love it. You know, the World, this is Saturn, and we love Saturn energy after we've been through a lot, right? So this is about learning lessons. It really is. But lessons learned and there being completion. So finally having something, you know, fulfilling and loving and happy in relationship, or if it has to do with career or money, you achieving your goal, right? So something new, a new position, promotion, award, some sort of rising status. And you know what? I feel like, and I'm going to say this, even though you're the Five of Swords right now, you're in this Five of Swords space where you're like recognizing that somebody is a bit of a hot mess in your life, right? Maybe that family member, maybe that person in relationship, that person at work. I kind of cut myself off, but let me address this energy here, because I feel like there's this clash between what you really want and the reality of something. And you're realizing that it's not you. It's not. And I'm not saying, oh, you know, it's really not. I was gonna say, oh, you know, there's always two energies, whatever. No. There's some sort of tension and ongoing conflict that you're not going to win because somebody can't get out of their own way. So you're really better off walking away with grace and dignity, right? And just dealing with your anger, your disappointment, just being even a little bitter about something, because there's something going on. It's a minor arcana. There's something going on, which for those of you who don't know is a shorter lived energy, something that's fixable ultimately, but you can't mitigate this stuff. You can't fix the unfixable. And that could be really, really frustrating. And I feel like that's where you're at with some part of your life right now. But this could have to do with a business or an inheritance situation. I just want to say before I get to the King of Pentacles, but I do want to say that because we have Mercury entering the retro shade, it's the pre-retro shade on May 14th in your sign. You know, Mercury again is in Gemini. It's been in there since the 3rd. It's going to be, so Mercury's going to be going retrograde. No big, you know, it's retrograde half the flipping time. Those of you who were born with Mercury retrograde in your chart, you're not even going to really feel it. You're probably going to have a really good experience. You typically do. So we have this going retrograde. So you're going to really be in this space where you need to reconsider things. You want to choose the path and direction that you want to take extra carefully here, right? But you're finally thinking and speaking your mind for the world to hear, Gemini. So this could have to do with career. This could be getting your point across in that family situation, whatever it is. The good news is that whoever is on the receiving end of it are finally listening. No one's going to ignore you. In fact, they're going to give you the opportunity and the motivation to let your thoughts be known. It really is the world is your oyster now, Gemini. This is such a good period for you going into your solar season. I don't remember a season like this with this much good energy available. And I always say this is the energy. It's up to you whether you want to go out and play in it or if you want to sit home and not engage, right? But it looks good. Now, the reason I mentioned that about this work situation, inheritance kind of situation, anything having to do with finance, could even be a divorce situation, we have the King of Pentacles. This is not a bad energy. This is somebody who's generous, would prefer things to be settled and copacetic, right? But they don't have any patience for anyone looking to take what they consider theirs. So this could be generating some conflict in a particular area regarding the settlement, right? Obviously, of some sort of business negotiation, obviously an inheritance, obviously some sort of divorce agreement, anything like that, being this idea of, you know, well, no, really that should be mine, that kind of energy. And that goes beautifully with the Five of Swords. So this just tells me like you're dealing with somebody who's rather challenging. Now I'm reading this is the energy that's surrounding you, and you're just like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, no, it's actually that's mine too, and we need to be more equitable in things, right? So we have the King of Swords as your challenge. So the King of Swords is you're going to be challenged to focus on the mind rather than your heart right now in order to take charge of the circumstances, right? This is about really relying on logic, and you're just going to be like, what are you talking about? Right? You're going to be very getting to the heart of the matter for things, very much so, you know, a lot. And I also want to say right now, there's the fact that we have the Jupiter entering Pisces in that 10th house of yours is just so important right now. for everyone dealing with any sort of work, marriage, because the 10th house is not only career, it's also public reputation, standing in the world. It has to do, the 10th house works with the 4th house of home, the idea of what helps you to feel grounded, rooted, safe, and secure. And Jupiter entering Pisces, there's a very important ramification of this energy that's worth taking a second to explain to you guys, if you're open to it. And the idea is this: when things seem hopeless and bleak, Jupiter arrives out of nowhere to save the situation. But this has less to do with like good fairies and just good luck, and more to do with when Jupiter is in Pisces, it brings a deep faith and a benevolence and significance in life and openness to allow there to be change, where maybe at once upon a time we would have been maybe a little more stubborn or not as agreeable. And it's really important to understand that whatever placement Jupiter is in, for you guys, obviously, as I mentioned, this is happening in your 10th house. He's looking for the meaning in that house and the truth in that house, right? And in Pisces, the meaning isn't found in the external reality, but instead within self. So this is a really supportive energy to be able to turn negative experiences into positive ones through our own doing, through our own sense of expression, through putting ourselves out there, right? And it's really about allowing ourselves this openness in career. Keep making ourselves be open to this idea of some sort of family situation. So if there's a situation going on with inheritance, the buying or selling of a home, or your ability to feel very grounded, rooted, safe, and secure, you might need a different perspective right now. Right? Now, this can be an incredible time in general to go within and tap into that space that I'm talking about through meditation, through stillness, through prayer, retreat, music, art, anything beautiful like that, right? But that's not the easiest energy for everyone all the time. It's really hard for Geminis to do that. It really is, because Geminis are very, I'm talking about the archetype now. I don't know you and your particular chart, so what was transiting what, or what rules your chart, but it's very hard to stay still. It really is. It's very hard to totally be at peace, and it's so funny because I laugh with a lot of my Gemini clients because they're like, I'm good for like the first 3 or 5 minutes, and then I'm like thinking about dinner and thinking about that relationship and that argument, and you're not alone in that, right? So and the thing is, the personal truth that seeks to come out in this energy can be uncomfortable, right? Where we're like, okay, I really need to look at things differently. I'm going to change my strategy because it's the best thing for me to do for me. But if you're not comfortable to go within, this could cause you to kind of run around desperately hunting for joy in other directions instead of within yourself for fulfillment. So this is where we can get into reckless behavior, overindulgence in alcohol, drugs, what I call manic theatrics, hypocrisy, anything that could be it's a sense of self-undoing kind of thing. You want to be careful of that. But in general, this transit is going to be pushing you to give of yourself and embrace compassion and imagination regarding some sort of 10th house situation that you normally wouldn't be open to. Having to do with career, having to do with that arrangement within the marriage, having to do with that arrangement, having to do with that home situation. And you're going to be in the space though where you're going to be very in touch with this, right? Because you have Jupiter in Pisces. Pisces is a very deep water energy. So you are going to be in your feels, even though you're an air sign. Now, in the near future, we do have the Four of Wands, which is really good. All right, this is very, very good. This is all going to work out for you. If this has to do, first of all, with a relationship, this is a new partner, you opening your heart, expressing your love to them, their love to you, whatever, it's affection exchanged. It's what we call this the honeymoon card. This is very auspicious for anything creative, any sort of project. But really here, it's about strong foundation. Success after working through something. Success after completion. So it's almost like a very celebratory vibe. For a lot of you, it's also a going back home kind of energy. Going back home, some sort of homecoming energy. So you might be dealing with people coming back home, or you know, again, for negotiation, obviously if it has to do with like an inheritance or some sort of settling up of a family situation. I know a lot of people are going through circumstances like that. But we have as a final outcome energy, the Magician. So Magician is you and Virgo, right? It's straight up Mercury. Mercury rules you and Virgo. So this is about crystallizing something, really. I mean, this is in numerology, it's the Wheel of Fortune and the Sun, like with two fabulous energies together. So if you're resonating with this as a relationship, if you're in a relationship, communication is really, really good. Very open, very communicative, deeper understanding of each other. That could be in an intimate relationship, a family situation, friendship. Really nice. Could even be making some sort of joint venture happen. You know, doing something together, maybe buying a house together, buying a business together, something like that. If it just has to do with career, money, a new beginning, or direction, this could also indicate inspired leadership from somebody who's really solid, who's really practical. So that's how that Magician can happen. But it does seem like you're very blessed right now. Serendipitous things are happening. And we have this energy of loyal heart. And I like that with the Jupiter entering Pisces for you. Really, really nice energy. So that's what we have for this portion of the reading. And let's do a separate spread for relationship only. So those were the wisdom of the oracles, and this is healing yourself. Oracles. Let's pull a few of these. Sadness. Soulmate. Inner child. Doing some heavy work in there, Gem, right? Yeah. That happens a lot too when people are getting ready for their soul return. Lots of communication happening about the inner child, right? Because then the sun's in your first house, it right after being in that 12th house, right? So right now here you are, right, with the sun shining in that 12th house energy. It's got Uranus, the sun, right? The moon is going to be in there. Lots of thinking about the inner child. So if you think about it, I always say this in my private readings. I don't say it a lot on YouTube, but the house placements, right? I do have to get around to doing a video on them. Anyway, if the first house, we say that the first house is the house of self, right? It's where we're born. Then the 12th house really is where we're in utero, right? I mean, think about it. It's a Pisces energy. It's water. When we're in our mothers, we're in water. We're in between things. We're in between worlds. That's that Pisces energy. That is that 12th house. And it really is where we start our manifesting when we're in utero. It's very interesting. So we could do, when we visit that area, right, in our chart, we do a lot of reflecting, a lot of thinking back to the past, right? Because it's Neptune. It's a Neptune energy, and Neptune rules the underneath, the emotions, the underworld. Not emotions, that would be the moon, but the under, like deep, deep under. So we have the Magician energy coming into this. So another Mercury energy, right? You and Virgo. So having to do with relationship, this is really nice. Communication, great. Problems being resolved through a deeper understanding of not just communication though, but what each of you need. Each of you needing something. And again, this is also indicative of a joint venture. So some of you this might be like a part 2 of if you understood the first spread as relationship here. We have the wheel. So the wheel is Jupiter. And for some of you, there could be an ex-love interest or partner coming back from the past, right? You really need to think about that last go around. And if you think the connection was strong enough to go for another round, if so, great, because it's a Jupiter energy. Jupiter will bless it. If not, know deep down that you're trying to fit a circle in a square, and chances are things won't go well. So that depends on your particular situation. But this could also be just meeting somebody brand new. This is fate. This is change. This is good luck. This is a turning point. So you're reaching some sort of turning point in a relationship that you're in, or even within yourself. You know, because also the Magician, because it's Gemini, you, and Virgo, Gemini, you, communication, looking at things differently, right? Like through the eyes of a child, looking at things differently. Virgo is a problem-solving energy. Communication to solve problems, right? Having a different approach to things to solve problems. So a lot of you who are single might be like, oh, you know what? I need to change my approach to things. Kind of like what I was mentioning in the last spread. You can be like, I don't have to change, but I feel like I want to change in order to make things just be better and more enjoyable in my life. Now, crossing the wheel here, we have the King of Swords energy. So the King of Swords is that energy of focusing more on the mind rather than the heart. So, you know, swords are air. So it's really not wanting to deal with the emotions, but this is crossing you. So logic might be escaping you when it comes to reconnecting with somebody. Just saying. Might be. So we have this idea of sadness, soulmate, and inner child, right? Those of you who've been watching me know my take on soulmate. I don't know. You know, soulmates, it's such a beautiful idea, but they're in our lives to teach us lessons, and we're meant to teach them lessons. And that's why I always push the red thread energy, the red thread story. If you don't know it, you should look it up. It's really nice. When we're born, we have these invisible red threads wrapped around our ankles, and we're meant in our life to meet up with our red thread energy, and they're a soulmate, but there's somebody who we learn the lessons with and then we end up with, right? Whereas a soulmate could be in our life for a reason or a season, often not a lifetime, right? So you could be going through some lessons, digging up stuff from your earlier life, dealing with that inner child, healing that space within you, really healthy stuff, but maybe not the most comfortable energy. Oh, listen. When is self-growth ever comfortable? It's just not. That's all right. Some of the best things in life aren't, right? But I see this confusion here. Having to do with relationship. Seven of Cups. Choices and confusion. Extreme commitment issues. Commitment issues here. And less because you don't want to commit, but you're not sure what's real, what's not. Things can feel very up in the air. You feel that you're at the beginning stages of something. You feel it. You need to pay attention to your instincts and your emotions, right? But this is a Venus and Scorpio energy. And when Venus is in Scorpio, remember Scorpio and Pluto, those two energies, they're never the same. There's always this ending and beginning, always this sort of things being a little tumultuous, right? And because you're not sure, it's very hard to say, oh, hey, yeah, I'm committed to that. Or you getting that from somebody else, because things very much seem up in the air. And you feel this sense of, well, it could even just be tested. You feel very tested in your relationship. And you could be dealing with the pain in the aftermath of the breakup or the death of somebody. You have more support than you realize now, but it could be that. Or within the relationship, there's some sort of testing of resources, some sort of financial issue or fear of financial issues that are a thing in the relationship right now. If that's the case, you really need to think about new options to be able to see your way forward. So there's got to be some really good communication going on with something like that. But it does seem like there's confusion. Things seem sort of up in the air. But what's interesting, Gemini, is I'm getting that there's a lot of, how do I want to say this? Let's say fake. No, because it's not fake. It's real. How dare I say that? What do I want to say? Unnecessary concern. Unnecessary concern. Something is very fixable here, but everybody's got to get on the same page. And I feel like that is going to be a little difficult right now. Now, you're definitely resonating with the idea. It does seem like if you're resonating with this, the idea that something needs balance, right? It's got to be some sort of balance here. But with the strength energy, it does indicate if the relationship's been tested, things getting better, but there's a need for balance here. Right? Somebody might need their ego stroked. Somebody might need to be told, don't worry, it's going to be okay. Just do this, this, and this, whatever. So it could certainly indicate that, okay? So I'm getting a few messages, so I just want to get them out. So I'm getting that for some of you. For others of you, you're very much in a space of just wanting to meet somebody, because the strength energy is Leo. Leo is the 5th house of romance, creativity. It's very much a me-based energy. It's doing what you want to do because you love to do it. It's falling in love, and it's romance. And we have the energy that's surrounding you, that's impacting you right now, is the Empress Energy, which is Venus. And this is all about virility, fertility, being able to grow with something, so with somebody. So this could have to do with either the idea of mothering, being a mother, right? Or literally growing a child, right? Pregnancy, growing a life together, being more than you are right now. You're in this space. And so you really want something to balance out so that you can kind of grow and in a particular way, but you're really having a hard time seeing the lesson in something with the world and your challenge. So the world and the challenges, there's some sort of unfinished lesson that's going on here, Gemini. So some of you are looking to sort of make peace with something where you still know things aren't really like right for you. Something feels off. Okay. Wow. Okay. So you really need to ask yourself, if something feels off, are you trying to fit a circle in a square so that things end up being easier for you moving on? But then at the end of the day, if it doesn't work out, you're going to have a weird sense of relief. Like, good, all right, at least the decision's been made for me. Almost like that kind of energy. As I feel like you on some days you really want this, but on other days you're really not sure if it's the right thing for you. And that, that's always plaguing the Gemini energy as well. Again, I don't know who I'm reading for. If you have, I don't know what aspects are working in your chart. So I'm just talking about the general archetype of Gemini right now. Is there could be this energy where you're in it and you idealize somebody, and then all of a sudden, for almost what could seem like an unknown reason, but for you, you could be very sort of 4 of Cups about it. Oh no, I can't be in this relationship anymore because of this, this, and this. But in reality, you might actually need to heal a past unhealed issue, right? And not to say that what you're feeling about this person or this relationship isn't real, but it's like you are putting this laundry list of reasons why the relationship can't work instead of focusing why it can work, because A, maybe you're bored, or B, you feel like maybe down the road something better would come along, or C, you feel like intuitively you're going to end up unhappy and claustrophobic in the situation, and you're afraid, you're not sure how to make the change because you want to be with the person, but you're not 100% sure if this is the energy that's actually right for you, if you're really, really honest with yourself. So that's what ends up happening a lot of times, right, with Geminis, where you put all your energy into something and you feel really positive about something, and then something will happen to make you feel like, oh, wait a minute, that's a little close for comfort, because Geminis really like their independence and to sort of have their own space. It's very important. Gemini, Sagittarius very much need that. So that's that axis, right? But this is what I see here actually, is being very focused on what it is that you really want, need, and desire, right? This Knight of Pentacles energy is a very independent endeavor kind of energy. Very independent endeavor. So a lot of you might be just working on yourself and just finally meeting a healthy connection after doing solid work on yourself, because 9 is the number of productivity. So it's an integration of body, mind, and spirit. So if you're in a relationship where you feel like they're not in pace with you, you're going to feel very sad. You're going to feel very, you might even feel really confused about it, but you're trying to be very true to yourself with this inner child energy. And I don't feel like you're having any regret in however things are rolling out right now, really. But it's this feeling where I can't be in this relationship because of this, this, and this. But Gemini, I just want to pose this question to you. Do you think you might be running away from something because it doesn't seem perfect enough for you? Because the Gemini energy does require the Renaissance energy. I always say that, right? You have to be attracted to them. The communication has to be great, and you can't be bored. They have to be like your partner in crime and ready to hit life, and otherwise boredom sets in. And then arguments can happen because of the boredom. And that's what this Nine of Pentacles and Four of Cups energy is really what I'm getting. Please don't come after me and be mad. Remember, I'm a Gemini sister. I'm just reading the cards here, what's being given to me. Okay. So we have the Four of Swords following the Four of Cups. So the Four of Swords is just, you know, stepping back, getting a different perspective, really good energy to do some therapy, some shadow work. You know, lots of this is going to be going on for you guys right now, right? Just because that new moon in the 12th house, for sure. There's going to be a lot of stuff. You're going to be realizing a lot of stuff going on right now. Now we have the Eight of Wands. So the Eight of Wands is a great news about love, especially if you've been separated, but it's good news, very busy communication. Great if you've been feeling held back or stuck, waiting for some sort of news or a decision, either within the relationship or having to do with the relationship. So if you guys were waiting to find out about a business that you bought, or waiting to find out if you were pregnant, or waiting to find out if you got that house, or whatever it is, some sort of really good news coming in. And then we have the Emperor, nice energy. This is Aries. Aries is always about a fresh path, new perspective, and you taking like a leadership role in your own life right now. We have the King of Cups, so there is this need that's existing here to settle something, either within yourself, some sort of conflict within yourself, or with somebody else, or maybe a little bit of both. And you might be a little unclear right now how to handle it, but you should handle it with your heart. The Queen of Cups energy, some really good communication, Gemini and Cancer in astrology. Very nice energy. This is about communicating about what you need to feel grounded, rooted, and safe and secure. Gemini communication, Cancer is the house of home. You got literally maybe having a lot of communication regarding moving, where you're going to be living, something to do with home, somebody who lives in your home, living together, something like that. That could certainly be a very direct interpretation of it. But this is also just being as an influence. This is falling in love and deepening of love and emotional honesty about what's needed to make something work. It's not airy-fairy. It's like, all right, we have to understand what we each need. It's kind of like, you know, temperance on steroids here. It's the Queen of Cups energy. And then we have the Three of Wands as this final wrap-up energy. Really great and excellent Sun in Aries energy. One of the good fortune cards. This is a very busy period for you. Some of you may be getting married, moving in together, moving on to realize your plans, okay? And whatever that means to you. Now, you might be dealing with an unconventional situation, an unconventional person, something a little unconventional, and that's okay. It seems like your situation might be unconventional, but that's okay. It looks like there's going to be a lot of beautiful energy on the other side of this. But there needs to be this squaring up of what are you really maybe scared of that you might need to look at a little more closely, Gemini. Yeah. Let's just pull a couple of Wisdom of the Oracle, not Wisdom of the Oracle, One Time Wellness. Sword and Rose. Truth coming out, abundance, keep a positive mindset, manifest, photograph, making new memories, Girl with the Snake, empath and narcissist paradigm, enable, okay, boundaries. So there's got to be some sort of boundaries established. Boundaries might be an issue here. So somebody, you might need to be like, look, I really need more time alone, or maybe you need more time with them, right? There needs to be discussion about boundaries here. It does seem like, right? Because this seems to be an ongoing issue in relationship, right? Cassette is outdated thinking, replaying events over in your head, conditioning, that kind of thing. We have clarifying the photograph. We have receiving what you need, moving on. Progression. Clarifying abundance. We have not today. Not dealing with hurt, avoiding a conversation. Boundaries, yeah. With the abundance energy in that, it's like, nope, I just want to bask in the glory of me today. I don't want to listen to you. I don't want to argue. I don't want to engage. I just want to be, and that's it. And that's okay. And then we have the Sword and Rose, which is clarity, truth. We have this idea of separation with sadness, missing you, thinking about you, yearning, unsure of the future. So yeah, I mean, these sort of align very closely with the tarot. But again, you know, keep in mind, with Mercury in your first house, with the retrograde shadow happening, what's going to start happening this week is a slowing down and a reassessing of everything that matters to you, especially relationship, because that 7th house works opposite that 1st house, right? It's that same axis. So you're really going to be reevaluating, reassessing, getting very real, very honest. And to have all of this energy with this new moon in Taurus, with the sun and Uranus in that 12th, yeah, you're going to be doing some deep thinking. I think this is going to be an excellent, excellent week. Everything is starting to shift this week for you, Gemini. So really for everyone, a lot of good energy. You know, Jupiter's been hanging with Saturn. Now it's going to be, you know, moving forward until the end of July, right? So it's your 9th house now. It's going to be moving into your 10th house and then back into your 9th house at the end of July until the end of December, and then forward again. So really good things are going to be manifesting for you. So that is what I have. Thank you so much for joining me. You guys have an awesome week, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.